Hello, Paulo Leite here, record collector. Today I am in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'll be visiting the legendary Wuxtry Records. Let's go inside. Now look at this place. Lots and lots of great records. This is quite a collection. I'm going to explore every inch of this place. Vinyl and CDs, they have it all. And some real wax if you're looking for some. This is going to be a great day. This is also a very famous record shop. R.E.M, the band, had their start here. Peter Buck was working at Wuxtry when he met Michael Stipe. Kate Pierson from the B-52s and Danger Mouse also worked at Wuxtry. We are going to start with rock vinyl. They start right here and they go all around the room, all the way to here. Unlike other record shops, here there aren't subgenres. So it's from A to Z. And you know something? Today I'm feeling like going after debut albums. Let's see what I'll find. ABBA and AC/DC get along just fine. Progressive, metal, indie, pop, it's still rock and roll to me. And we start in style with Music from Big Pink, 1968 by the band. This was their first album, and it was quite a debut. Pet Sounds, 1966 by the Beach Boys, another classic. Of course they have all the Beatles reissues, and some vintage pressings too. This white album is a 1971 edition in great shape. If you are enjoying this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I have plenty of great records and record shops to show you. Thanks. Oh, my dad gave me this Bee Gees back in 1980 when I was a kid. Oh, those memories. And then came the day Blondie met Black Sabbath. Exit Planet Dust, 1995 by the Chemical Brothers, their debut album. If someone wanted to define the soundtrack of the 90s in just one album, this would fit perfectly. The funny thing is that at the time I was listening to completely different things. But when I look back, yes. Oh, here's something really interesting. Toronto Rock and Roll Revival by Chicago. This is an unauthorized release of their performance at the concert that took place in 1969. This was never released officially, even though several artists who played at the event did release albums of their performances, one of them being John Lennon. I'm such a fan of R.E.M. They had a short but beautiful career, and it's funny that Eric Clapton has recalled that it was Music from Big Pink by the band that convinced him to leave R.E.M. And let me introduce you to Pedushka. Lying on the carpet, listening to Glenn Campbell on Mondays, Velvet Underground on Tuesdays, she's living her best life. Barry Manilow himself tunes her squeaky toys. Christopher Cross from 1979, his beautiful debut album. Christopher Cross is probably the most humble and underappreciated musician in rock and roll music alive. Because beyond being a great singer and a brilliant composer, he is a phenomenal guitar player. He was invited to play on several Steely Dan albums, and he declined. He played with Deep Purple in 1970 when Ritchie Blackmore fell ill, and never bragged about it. And speaking of Deep Purple, The Book of Taliesin, 1968, and I love it. This album has so much energy, so much craftsmanship. To Bonnie from Delaney, 1970, by Delaney and Bonnie, their fourth album, the first one at Atlantic Records. Little Richard plays the piano here. Every time I listen to this album, a voice in the back of my head sings Good Golly Miss Molly. Go figure. Oh, one big thing, as I flip through all these records, I'm listening to this rich sound coming from these vintage Leslie speakers. So many good record shops have average sound, but not Wuxtry. Here, these Leslies make music sound as it should. Q. Are We Not Men? A. We Are Devo, 1978 by Devo. Their debut album, deliciously fun. What is called the New Wave existed during a short period of time. It was planted during the punk rock years in the mid-70s, and it bloomed fully between 1977 and around 1983. By 1984, it was gone. it became mainstream pop. Although pure new wave was short-lived, it was highly influential. Lots of doobies. 5 Leaves Left, 1969. This was Nick Drake's debut album. I love him. Every time I see his albums, I can't help but wonder what a great career he would have had if he had lived. Lord Upminster, 1981 by Ian Dury, had some great songs, but it was a critical and a commercial disaster. I am a big fan of Dury. It's fascinating that, coming from such a harsh start and with an adult life always at the brink of self-destruction, Ian Dury wrote music that is filled with irony, fun, comedy, and passion. To me, he is a punk version of Shakespeare. Had Me a Real Good Time at the BBC 2023 by Faces was originally recorded in 1971 and 1972. I think this was limited to 5,000 copies. They were great. The Jimi Hendrix discography is fascinating. Although he only released 4 albums while alive, Hendrix left a large quantity of recordings that have fueled many posthumous releases. Although the quality of those releases can be debated, just like Nick Drake, one can barely imagine the sheer quantity of great music he would have given us had he lived a full life. It's so great to see tons of Janis Ian. I love her. To me, she's one of the best composers of the 20th century. She is as great as Carole King or Joni Mitchell, but sadly, she has not had the same recognition. Every one of her records is pure gold, and yet they are ridiculously cheap. If you don't know her, oh, you should. Power Slave 1984 is my favorite Iron Maiden. Flash of the Blade is a stunning song, and Jennifer Connelly sleepwalking through Dario Argento's Phenomena. It's the perfect soundtrack. Wunder993 asked me, what do you think of cassettes? Well, I love cassettes. My dad gave me my first boombox around 1983, and I still have it, and it still works beautifully. Back then, I used to record my own compilations. Cassettes were made with portability in mind, and that was exactly why I used to record them. I used to take them in the car or with my Walkmans when I would walk to school. Cousins and friends had different albums on vinyl, and each one of us would record our own compilations. Oh, I'm getting this one to give to a friend. With my own vinyl collection, plus my cousins' and friends' collections, plus the radio, I used to record great compilations I took with me everywhere. Outlandos d'Amour, 1978 by The Police. It came at the very end of the disco era, and it was visionary, showing us what rock would be in the next decade. Wow, Happy Trails, 1969 by Quicksilver Messenger Service. I haven't seen this album in years. They were amazing. They are usually classified as psychedelic rock, but no, they are so much more. They have released a good number of studio albums and tons of live albums. Here's a band that needs to be rediscovered. And Wuxtry has their best albums, and they are cheap. Lots of Rolling Stones reissues and some curiosities. Like this Czech Sticky Fingers. Oh, the performance soundtrack. I haven't seen this movie in a long time. If you don't know the film, the cover may suggest lots of Rolling Stones. But no, still a great album. Now, when it comes to gorgeous covers that shine on vinyl, I have to say, nobody tops Roxy Music. They had some of the best covers. Another artist I think deserves more appreciation is Todd Rundgren. I feel a lot of young people never heard of him, and yet, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, he traversed every subgenre, every fad, every trend that ever existed in music. He influenced a lot of people. His songs were covered by megastars, and yet he managed to keep himself from becoming one. And that, my friends, is respect. All Around My Hat, 1975 by Stile Span. Here's an album that deserves a super deluxe special edition. And again, another band that deserves so much more recognition. I have always loved their work. Of course, not to be confused with Steely Dan, a completely different band. Actually, it's funny that here we have two bands with very similar names, formed nearly at the same time, but with completely different music. You know, flipping through this collection, there is so much great stuff here. Wuxtry Records has been operating uninterruptedly for decades. Its collection is incredibly well curated. This brings me to the question, what makes a great record shop? Well, it's all pretty much here. A great collection, a very friendly space, good and fair prices, good light for someone like me who is as blind as a bat, and a quiet space where the music sounds good. A little more about cassettes. Like I said, portability was the main thing with cassettes. Sound quality, of course, was a different matter. I never bought albums on cassette because even back then it was clear they would never rival the sound quality of vinyl. However, different consumers have different priorities, and a lot of people prioritized size and portability over sound quality. And that's just a fact of life. I guess today, the people who buy old cassettes are looking for the cassette sound signature that I am sure triggers a lot of good old memories. I myself felt exactly that a couple of years ago when I had my old cassette deck fixed after being 20 years inoperative, and listened to one of those compilations I made 40 years ago. Yes, it sounded terrible, but for some very brief moments, I swear I was 15 years old again, and it felt so good. Look at this beautiful edition of Tommy, 1972, by the London Symphony Orchestra, with all inserts intact. I know it's not terribly rare, but it is a beautiful artwork, and it's over half a century old, for only $10. Let's take a look at the soul section. It occupies these crates right here. Some nice Brook Benton. James Brown Sings Out of Sight, 1965. This is a 1968 reissue with a different cover. Thinking about Little Willie John and A Few Nice Things, also 1968. The A-side is a tribute to Little Willie John, who had died months earlier, and for whom James Brown used to open the shows when he was starting. The B-side contains some amazing instrumental tracks. I do not think this album was ever released on CD. Am I mistaken? Please let me know. Right on Time, 1977 by the Brothers Johnson. This was their classic second album. Winners, 1981, and Out of Control, 1984. Woman to Woman, 1974 by Shirley Brown, her first album on Stax Records that sadly closed soon after. Here's an artist who deserves being rediscovered. And she's still with us. Miss Brown, this video is dedicated to you. Oh, Rockin' on Bandstand, 1983 by the Dells. They were an incredible vocal group. This is a compilation. Their original albums are kinda hard to find in good shape. However, they were so good. Here's another band that deserves rediscovering. And some CD releases, please. Oh, Roberta Flack, 1978. This was an album Roberta Flack was pressured into recording in order to fulfill her contract with Atlantic Records. However, being such a brilliant singer, the album is beautiful, even though Roberta hated the song If Ever I See You Again. And here's First Take, 1969, her first album. Tonight, 1981 by the Four Tops. I love this album, but keep in mind this is 1981, the year Rick James released Super Freak. A vocal group like the Four Tops was struggling to find its place. It was the dawn of hip-hop, and their audience was no longer there. Thelma Houston, 1983. Her previous album from 1982 still had a clear disco sound, but on this album, she is pure 80s urban pop. Gladys Knight and the Pips, 1965. This was their second album and it is gorgeous. Either Way I Lose is a stunning song. Plus, they are from Atlanta. Open Sesame, 1976, Kool and the Gang, an absolute classic, for only $8. Heads, 1972 by Ozzy Biza. They were so good, and this is one of their best. So So Me La So is such a great track. It would be great to have their catalog remastered with lots of bonus tracks because I am sure this is the kind of a band who has tons of unreleased material. Their albums never went beyond 40 minutes. That means plenty of space on the CD for alternate takes, instrumentals, rehearsals, etc. Come on, this should happen. The Stylistics, 1971, their first album, a classic. Same thing, we need their catalog remastered with tons of bonus tracks. Get this album, you'll thank me later. This is one of the best albums from the 70s. Tom Bell was indeed a master producer. Love Uprising, 1980 by Tavares. I have always loved this album. It has a kinda Quincy Jones feel, but somehow it failed to find an audience. That's really sad because this album is great. War, 1971. This is their third album, but the first one under just War. And it is beautiful. No record shop is complete without a good Stevie Wonder section. Wuxtry does not disappoint. New arrivals. Some interesting stuff here too. Hip hop and rap. Under those rock crates, we find vocalists, easy listening, and a lot more. And also a large collection of 45s, including some Beatles treasures for collectors. And I asked Mr. Kuykindall to pick up an album he likes that he thinks everybody should know. And this was his pick, Short Movie, 2015 by Laura Marling. Yes, an incredible album everybody should try. Her voice is beautiful. I'm going to break this video because the real treasure here at Wuxtry is their collection of blues, jazz, and classical music on vinyl. It is so good it deserves its own video. And it's coming right next on part 2. Don't you dare miss it. I'm having so much fun. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. There's more great content coming soon. Thank you.